Hey everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to do my second half September wrap up. So if you guys haven't seen one of these videos, what I do is I give you the stats and a wrap up of books that I have read both independently and with my daughters for the second half of the month, because we have been reading quite a bit. And so I have taken all of my reading that I do with my daughters out of my stats, because I felt like that was really not even helpful to me. It was really skewing like what was going on. And so the stats are going to be just my independent reading, but I am going to briefly tell you about what I'm reading with them, just in case you are interested in some middle grade books. So let's just get into it. So in the second half of September, I read 9 books. That's 3,018 pages, which is 201 pages per day. The average page length of each book was 335 pages, so I read about 0.6 books per day. And I read 8 novels, 1 graphic novel, 6 were adult, 2 were young adult, and 1 was middle grade. So it was really an interesting month in the things that I'm choosing. And you'll see towards the end, I'm like kind of on a tear with some things that I don't know why. It's interesting. I read 4 from my shelf and 5 from somewhere else. So doggone it, that's not really what I want, but that's okay. 6 I primarily read using the Libby app, and 2 of them were just off my shelf, and 1 was from the library. I read 6 on audio and 3 physically. So you guys, anybody that asks how I read so much, audio. For example, like today I was doing dishes and I had a headphone in, and it's a weekend, and so my husband is like another set of ears, so like I can definitely be with just one ear for a lot of times. And a lot of books, that's fine with me. I read 4 new releases and 5 backlists, which is very skewed. Normally I read almost primarily backlist. So it was an interesting section of the month. As far as genre goes, I read 3 contemporary, 2 nonfiction, 2 mystery thriller, 1 Christian fiction, and 1 women's fiction. Star ratings wise, I had 3 3 stars, 2 3.5, and 4 4 stars. So my average rating was 3.56, which is about what it always is. It feels like right around that 3.5. Good. I wouldn't go out of my way to like scream on the rooftops, but I would recommend it if it sounds interesting to you. And I'm okay with that. Some of you guys have commented like, your ratings are kind of tough and your ratings are kind of low. And that's true. But almost everything, like I'm reading for enjoyment. If it's not going to be the best book of all times, that's okay. Like as long as I enjoy the 4 hours or whatever that I spend with it, I'm good with that. So 3.5 feels pretty good to me. So let's just get into the books. So first I'm going to talk about all the middle grades that I read with my daughters, and then I'll talk about the 1 middle grade that I read, and we'll just go from there. So we started a new series, and it is Isla of Adventure. So we read Welcome to the Island and The Secret Cabana. So this is about a girl named Isla, and she lives on the island of Seoul, and she can speak to animals. She can understand them. They can talk. They, kind of a Dr. Dolittle effect. And so then a new girl moves in, and she's like totally not this is kind of a rural, very outdoorsy. Isla is very outdoorsy. And this girl is from, I can't remember what city, maybe New York. I don't know. From a city, and she's very much a city girl. And so the two aren't necessarily friends at first, but they kind of find their friendship. And this is an okay series. I don't love it. But the girls have asked for more, so we have the next one on the shelf, and we'll see if and when we pick it up. Next is one of our favorite series, and that is The Critter Club. This is number 10, 11, and 12. So we read Ellie and the Good Luck Pig, Liz and the Sandcastle Contest, and Marion Takes Charge. And so these books, I wouldn't say you necessarily have to read them in order, except it will like reference the premise of the story is the girls have this little like animal rescue called the Critter Club that they have started. One of their moms is a vet, and the other one there's a woman, a family friend kind of, that has a big barn space, and so they're running this animal rescue called the Critter Club. And there's 4 girls, I think, in the Critter Club, and so they all get different stories. But so they will reference like past things that have happened in the Critter Club, so you don't have to read them in order, but we like it. So Ellie and the Good Luck Pig, there's a pig that comes that she thinks is her good luck charm, and they talk about like, is there such thing as a good luck charm? Is this just kind of coincidence? Like, can you always find the good and the bad in things? And I love that message, both for myself and for my kids, of like, just you can find good and like lucky things in every situation, and you can also find like bad things in every situation. So it's where you choose to put your attention. In this one, Liz in the sandcastle contest. Liz's family has a lake house, so there's a sandcastle contest. It's her and there's a bunch of people, but there's this other boy that's kind of it's kind of like an enemies thing. He's not very friendly, and then by some chance her castle gets blown over, and they work together. It's about teammates. It's about winning and losing and being a good winner, being a good loser. It's a lot of good stuff. And then this one, Marion takes charge. Marion is asked to babysit her little sister. And my oldest daughter, her eyes were like, because the idea to be able to boss around your little sisters and be in charge is so appealing to her. It was so cute to watch. But the moral of this is just that, like, you don't necessarily, being in charge is a lot of work and it's fun, but it's a lot of work. And just being sisters, they have a great bond. They end up like crushing it in charades, and like being sisters is better than being the boss of her. So yeah, there's that. Then we have Just Grace, and this is one that we actually DNF'd after just a little bit. This, I can't remember if one of you guys told me about it or if I just saw it or what happened, but it doesn't have chapters. It just has like sections, and we read a little bit of this, and it is just there's a lot of like outward like blunt gender stereotypes that like girls should do this, boys should do this, and I want my girls to know that they can do anything. So I did, and just crudeness. There's a lot of crudeness, a lot of brattiness and cattiness between kids. So I said, "Are you guys liking this?" Because I'm the mom that like we can read this kind of stuff, but we're gonna stop and talk a lot about like the right thing to do and how we react. And they were like, "No, this is not fun," because they're just not kind. And so we DNF this. And then, you guys, what a refreshing change. We read The Boxcar Children. For some reason, I never read this as a child. And so again, I don't remember what inspired me to pick this up, but I picked it up, and this is so darn good. Like, it is so good. This is, if you don't know, this is about 4 siblings who are on the run because their parents have died, and they are afraid that their grandfather is going to find them. They've never met their grandfather, but they're assuming he's kind of a nasty guy because they've never met him. He's never showed interest, apparently. So they're on the run. So they find this boxcar, and they make a life for themselves in this boxcar. And the oldest boy, Henry, gets some work to continue to buy them like food and stuff, but they are living in basic conditions. They have pine needle beds, and they go to the dump to find like dishes, and they have to go wash their bodies and their food and everything in the brook. And this was so good. Like, my daughters, because they had to figure out how to warm water and all that kind of stuff, and my daughters were like, "Man, we are so lucky to be able to just go turn on the faucet and have hot water." And like, they really fell in love with these characters, and by using them as an example, they were able to like obtain gratitude for so many things. And these siblings were so sweet. This was so wholesome. This was so good. We currently have the prequel, and we're going to read that, and then we're going to continue on with the series. Next is Princess in Black by Shannon and Dean Hale. And this is about a princess who, princesses are not supposed to wear black, okay? They're supposed to wear pink. They're supposed to be whatever. And she secretly wears black, and she like fights crime and stuff. And this one itself was really like, the storyline needed some more development. Like, it was like, wait, why are they doing that? What's going on? It was kind of silly, but this is a whole series, and I just checked one out called Princess in Black and Bedtime Battles or something. So we're going to try that. Nobody really loved this, but I kind of want to give it one more shot. So we'll see. Now, if you can hear in the background, my oven is going off, so I'm going to pause. That's a good time to pause because now we just have the books left that I read for myself. So I will pause and be right back. I'm back. Hopefully the angle didn't change too much. I am alone for an hour and 15 minutes. And so, you guys, I'm trying to do all the things. But anyway, the middle grade that I read to myself is Best Friends by Shannon Hale, ironically. And I think it was Lewin Pham. I can't remember how to say her name. But this is the second in the, Real Friends series, I think is what it's called. This is a graphic novel about a girl in 6th grade, and she is just, in this one, like, there's a lot of friendship stuff and a lot of stuff talked about this one specifically, we're talking about changing friendships. We're talking about kind of dating for the first time and like boy-girl relationships. Not in a crude way, not in an inappropriate way, but just of like, wait, so am I supposed to like people? Am I supposed to like people? Like, what am I supposed to do with boys? She's kind of figuring that out. And our main character, Shannon, so this is a somewhat memoir, or maybe completely memoir. She has really bad anxiety. So we get to see a lot of those topics discussed, and the anxiety I felt like was good. My problem with this, like, I love the art style in this series. I really like the first one, and it's a trilogy, so I plan to read the third one at some point. But my problem with this is that it kind of like ping-ponged everywhere. Like, it kind of touched on the boy-girl relationship. It kind of touched on friendships. It kind of touched on anxiety. Then it kind of went back to boy-girl relationships. Then it kind of went to friendship. Like, it was just like boing, 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 really unfocused, and really like, whoa, like kind of, just a little unfocused, I guess. I really like the things that discussed. It was just kind of all over the place. And yeah, and I also have read other reviews that said this doesn't feel like a sixth grader going through the sixth grade experience. It feels like a 30-something woman writing about her sixth grade experience. And I think I could definitely see that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I do think this would be helpful for young people who suffer with anxiety and have similar questions. But I think it definitely has an older perspective of like, these are the things I'm choosing to remember, kind of. And there's Shannon, our main character, has a lot of good morality that I love seeing. But it almost also kind of feels like, is that what a sixth grader would say? Or is that like what their mom would say to say, So it's interesting. I really enjoyed it, but I could see some of the criticisms. So now the young adults that I read. First, I read Things Jolie Needs to Do Before She Bites It, and this was for my September book haul revisit, so I will link that down below. But this is one that I hauled in September of 2020, and just now got around to reading. It was sent by my dear friend Antonella, and this is about a girl who has a severe underbite, and so she has to have surgery, like, because it impairs the way she talks, the way she eats, the way she smiles, all the things. So she's having surgery, and she's a little afraid she's going to die. And so she's got this list of things that she wants to do before she potentially dies. And there's a lot in this story. Her teenage sister is pregnant. Don't know who the dad, like, she knows who the dad is, but we don't know who the dad is. There's that going on. She's got two really good friends. One is like really big in the body positivity, and that was good to see. I really wish she got her own book, honestly. And then there's a guy who lost his dad 4 years ago and is kind of, there's kind of some interesting dynamics between her and him. And then Jolie also gets cast as the lead in a play, and so she's really having to find her confidence. And so there's a lot going on in this. I enjoyed it. Best thing ever? No, but I enjoyed it. The other one is Rain, which is American Royals number 4. Is that right? American Royals number 4, by Katharine McGee. So this is number 4 in the American Royals installment. The premise of the series is what would happen if George Washington became king and we had a monarchy instead of a democracy. And now it's many generations later, of course, and it's present day. And there's like 20-somethings ruling our nation. And it's really hard to say a whole lot about this because it follows the same group of people for all 4 books. And I think this is the conclusion to the series. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the final book, and I feel like it wrapped up in a way that it definitely could be the final book. There's a lot of like romantic relationships as well as friendship relationships that have been ongoing throughout the series, and they all kind of wrap up pretty nicely. I was happy with the way some things ended, and I really enjoyed it. Not the best in the series, but I think I still probably gave it 3.5 or 4 stars. Let's see what I gave it. I gave it 4 stars. I still really enjoyed it. I love the friend group. I own the first one, but would love to own the other 3 because I can see myself rereading this series, and I really like it. In my last video, I think a lot of you guys commented that like you're motivated to pick it up now because of how much I gush about it. And so I'd be really interested to know if you like it, because it's not necessarily like I went in with low expectations. This isn't something that I would normally say like that's gonna be the best thing ever, but I really, really enjoyed it. So there's that. Then we've got, let's see, the adult book. So I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager. So this, if you haven't heard about it, this is about a woman named Lenora Hope. She is now a 80-something-year-old woman, and she has had some polio and some things, so she now cannot speak or really move much of her body, but she can type on a typewriter with one of her hands. And so she is notorious, infamous for potentially killing her entire family in like a Lizzie Borden-esque situation many, many, many years ago. She was not convicted, but there's a little rhyme or whatever that everybody thinks she did it. And so now our main character is, gosh, what's her name? I can't even remember. Kit. Kit is tasked with being like her home nurse, and so she goes, and Lenora wants to tell her story through the typewriter. So the house itself is up on this cliff, as you see. It is creepy. It is a good atmosphere. I loved this book. This was one of my favorite. Well, I've only read. Is this only my second Riley Sager, maybe? So maybe it's not much to say, but Home Before Dark is the other one I read, and I like this one a lot better. There were a lot of twists and turns. Some I kind of saw coming, some I didn't, and I thought it was really good. I gave this one 4 stars as well. Next is Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before by Julie Smith, and this is a nonfiction, and it is, I'll have the picture up because I can't remember the subtitle, but it is an interesting story or book about kind of like just knowing the way your brain functions and different ways your brain functions, and where your emotions originate from, the amount of control you have in your emotions, your life, the importance of perspective, all of that. It was interesting for sure. It was a 4-star for me, so it wasn't like mind-blowing to me, and some of it was a little I don't know. I really enjoyed it. 4 stars is great. I really enjoyed it. Some of it is stuff that like you already know. And I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say, but it was interesting. There were definitely tidbits that were interesting. It also, it's just hard to like put it all in practice, but I still really enjoyed it. Next is The Wedding Chapel by Rachel Houck. So this one is, it is about a wedding chapel. Are you surprised? And it is about like kind of the one who got away. This man built a wedding chapel for somebody, and it didn't work out, whatever. This wedding chapel has never been used. Now it's in the present timeline, and this young girl who is related to the woman is trying to get him not to sell the wedding chapel. That is a really bad synopsis, but I honestly don't remember a ton of this. For 60 years, the wedding chapel stood silent and empty. Yes. So there's connections between people that you find out through the story. This one, honestly, was just kind of dull for me. I read The Wedding Dress. There's like a wedding quartet or something. I can't remember how many books that are all standalones, but all wedding related. And I read The Wedding Dress and liked it. And this one was just 3 stars for me. It was nothing special. I won't read it again. There's that. Next, I read The Whispers by Ashley Aldrain. So I really liked the push. I saw the twist coming in the push, so it wasn't like as mind-blowing as other people have said. But The Whispers is like my jam, you guys. The Whispers is about a neighborhood of suburban drama, and they're having like a block party one night, and something happens. The mom who's hosting it just loses her mind on her like 10-year-old son, and she does it like up in his bedroom, but doesn't realize that the window's open, and everybody hears her. And then not long after, the boy falls out of his window at night and is very, very, very badly hurt. So are your friends actually your friends? Do people believe you that you're not involved? Like what's happened to this boy? It is so interesting. So much just suburban drama, and is the boy going to be okay? And the ending, like her endings are just the best. I was like kind of chuckling because it's so like, bum, 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 just so dramatic and so funny. And, but like not funny, but like, oh man, it was just good. I just really liked it. I mean, maybe it says something about me, but I really, really liked this book and would definitely recommend that you pick up The Whispers if you haven't. Next, I read Slightly Married, which is number 4 in this Slightly series by Wendy Markham. So this is an old, early 2000s series that was on my shelf for some reason, and it follows our main character, Tracy. She is an Italian girl with a lot of stuff going on, and in the first book, she's with this kind of self-obsessed actor guy who's very metrosexual, very into himself, very over-the-top stereotypical. There is definitely a lot of evidence that this was written in the early 2000s as far as just not great. I mean, the biggest thing is like fat phobia and her weight situation as she goes through, because in the first book she loses a bunch of weight. Her weight is brought up throughout the series multiple times. But anyway, she has a best friend. She has this boyfriend. They break up. She meets this other guy. There's kind of a love triangle between her and her best friend and all that kind of stuff. It's just kind of been a saga going along. And in this one, she gets engaged and they're planning the wedding. And so we get to see a lot of her family again, and we get to see just a lot of this story. I love this character. I love these series that are like 4 or 5 books following the same main female character. She's kind of annoying, kind of quirky, just kind of fun. I enjoy the series a lot. So this may not be for everybody, but I really enjoyed it. I gave us 3.5 stars, and I think there's one more in the series called Slightly Suburban. So it's also set in New York City. So if that's a thing for you, these are good. Next is, let's see, this Joy Hunter, and it is Messy Face Plants, Radical Love, and the Journey That Changed Everything. So this is by Alexis Jones, and I kind of expected this to be like self-helpy, and it's definitely not. This is a memoir about this woman, and they lived in Austin, Texas, and ended up going to the mountains of Montana, and she's married, and it's just they're kind of exploring what they want out of life as a couple, as individuals, all that kind of stuff. Do they want kids? Do they not want kids? They have some struggle with fertility. That's definitely discussed about. Just kind of her finding her joy in life. And so there's not a lot of huge takeaways from this, except just kind of continually reevaluate why you're doing what you're doing, and if you want to do something different. And yeah, it may be messy, but seek joy. So that is everything that I read in the second half of September. I would say it was a pretty good month. I am on a tear of graphic novels right now, middle grade graphic novels. My daughters and I, our county has something like, I don't know, somewhere between 14 and 20. It's maybe 14, maybe 19. I don't know. Our county has a lot of libraries, basically. That's the point. And it has been our goal to go to all of them at some point. And we haven't really been doing it this summer because we've just been too busy doing other things. But it's definitely a winter project. And we went apple picking recently. And on the way, it's like 30 minutes away or whatever. So on the way home, we went to a new library. And they have like this graphic novel display that is like awesome. So got a lot there. Our library has kind of been displaying graphic novels all of a sudden. I don't know why. So it's like the book people are talking to me. I need to be reading graphic novels, so I am. So I finished Best Friends last night, started another one today. So in my first half of October, you will see what all I picked up. So that is everything. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.